Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Poisoner's Almanac. I'm your co-host, Adam.
I am uncomfortable. Sorry, I'm Rebecca. I'm just rearranging the way I'm sitting because I was sitting like that for a while.
Yeah. If you could notice the super cute pink typewriter Lego set.
It's cute, right?
Behind Becca, it's adorable.
It was like $20 at Costco. I was like, well, I need that.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's so you.
I liked it. Anyway, yeah, I am here. I'm grunge this week. I am tired. I am behind on everything in life, and that's okay. If you are too, then welcome to the club. I've got a nice little friend here from all the stress. So even at 40 years old, you still get these fun things. These little
Cool. Love that.
Hair is kind of unbrushed, and that's fine.
It looks
clean.
super cute though.
I washed it.
The pink is so nice on you.
It's still drying, so.
All right. Let's go for some comments from Spotify. Cam, this is a good one. Cam says on the arboviruses part 1, imagine this. 3 months into moving in together, both my partner and I had dengue. Also dengue fever.
Yeah.
And we're bedridden for a week each. It solidified the relationship, but at the time it sucked.
Yeah, I bet. The devil's crunch, eh?
The devil's crunch.
Not the devil's crunch. She's got the devil's crunch.
And then Carla on the arboviruses part 2, she says, "Rawr, back at you. I am Campusar." So when you hear us call out Campusar on the patron shout out, that's who this is.
Speaking of arboviruses, there was a case of West Nile just recently. I was like, every time I talk about something, I see it in the news the next week and I'm a little nervous.
Oh my God, are you manifesting?
No, I think it's just because you become hyper aware of,
Girl, clean up your vision board.
West Nile is pretty, unfortunately, the most common arbovirus here in the States.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's get into a little bit of housekeeping for the old podcast. Thank you all, first of all, for listening and watching.
Thank you all, first of all.
Follow us on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. Thank you in advance for leaving 5-star reviews where applicable. Those are piling up on Spotify, especially. Make sure to follow us on socials. We got links in the show notes to follow our personal socials and the dedicated podcast social channels. We have a Patreon that is up and running. Let us know what kind of content you guys would like to see. We have added 2 new tiers. Well, we're going to add 2. We've already added 1.
Now that I have the new computer, very helpful. It'll be much more easy for me to get the Camillasodes up and also maybe do some lives and stuff. So
it is blazingly fast.
I have been waiting.
To the old one.
I've been waiting to have better ability to do those things because I didn't want to make it something that was harder than it should be.
Yes.
So.
Editing was a slog because Becca's her old MacBook Air, the fan would turn on and then it would be on.
She was so loud. I felt so bad.
It was so loud. It was running so slowly. And now we have this brand new M4 MacBook Air. It's a hot rod. Yeah. And thank you to the people supporting the podcast because you have allowed us to upgrade the equipment with which we produce it. So thank you.
We got my Apple Card and it's helping me with the finance and stuff. Also, Amir at the Apple Store.
My man.
Very nice.
Man Amir.
Appreciate him.
That's right. So we have the $1 tier that gives you weekly bonus episodes. You have the option to leave us a voicemail where we play and listen to, we play that and react to it here on the podcast. And you get shouted out by name on the podcast. There is now a $3 a month tier, which includes all those other perks and the Poison in the News segment.
Yes.
That kept getting longer and longer, and we finally realized we got to spin that off into its own segment, which we did, its own episode type.
Also, the Discord. I found a permanent link that's in the Patreon now. Yeah, they kept y'all, I'm not the best. I'm not the best with technology. I'm learning. I'm doing my best. Doing my best. Yes. And I finally found in tiny little letters. It's like, oh, do you want a permanent one? And I'm like, yes, I've been looking for 45 minutes on this thing.
The way you said it, I know exactly. It was like
tiny little.
It was like size 4 font.
Like, why? This is so hard to find.
Hey, are you interested in doing the thing that you wanted to do at the beginning, but we kind of don't want you to?
Yeah. So I finally figured out how to do that. So It won't expire now.
And you're like, you know what? No, I want that link to expire. Let's spice things up.
I know. And it's finally got that done out of the way.
So there's also a Discord.
There is a Discord to just
that's at the $1
hang out
tier.
with us.
Is that $1 or $3 tier? I forget.
I think it's all the tiers. Yeah.
Is it all of them?
It starts at $1.
Fantastic.
Pretty sure.
That's a private Discord for patrons. Okay. And then there
Mm-hmm.
will be a $5 tier added once we get closer to posting the first Camilla-sode.
Yeah,
which
some lives
is
and stuff.
Sure. And we made a whole video announcement describing like what a Camilla-sode is. So you can go back and watch that or listen to it. And thank you all in advance for listening to the podcast. So I mentioned patrons get shouted out by name on the podcast. And those people are as follows: 87 Pens Girl 71, Mara Santiago, Grace Lahan, Genevieve, Nehev Shatreet, Jay Went, Incan Hafter, Kira Yorsek, Tay of Sunshine, Monique, Shane R., Sue Steves, James Mills, Megan Geiler, Liz B., Woolly Wolf NZ, Mama G., Nicole Rivers, Richard Miyako, Heather Nolan, Kaylee, Sasha Rubel, Maya Showstock, Maggie's Yarm, Ogre to Viking, Lynn Rocket, Brett Moser, Zaid, Neil Houdini, Nicole Crane, Jefferson Vargas, Carmen Q, Sarah G., Knit Ninja, Estar, Olive Octopus, Betsy Rich, T-Bug, Christine Moljadi, Morgan Brittingham, Blauvrosh, a.k.a. Clara Jurisons, Vix, Anne Maria, Carl Ziegler Jr., Clyde, Jennifer Wilson Richter, Too Fidgety, Wendy G., Elena M.K., Caitlin Martin, Pungramed 101, Minnesota SPT, Tasha, Stuart Slattery, Simone Valdez, Christian Scradergard, Bonnie, Oma D., Ryanel Alara, Kristen Arnold, Aaron Carey, Lynn Simpson, Melissa Emmel, Desiree Davis, Jennifer Ramirez Johnson, Dalek Party, The Warped Witch, Dizzy Dancer, Creative Otter, Yadmit, Supergirl Sway, Rachel, Anya Brandt, Ebby, Leah Marie Matson, Lady Digitalis, Jessie, Shay 10, Julia Franzoni, Sparks, Gloria Eichmann, Thomas Huff, From Strings to Things, Soy Kasumi, Jessica Gasparini, Robert Jr., Caitlin and Donna Lanchanese, Lauren Smith, Anna G., Serpentine Fire, Melanie the SLP, Stuart Lee, Solstice, Chris Millanak, Mackenzie Kennedy, Libby, Hetty, Hantapalooza, J Moon, Kelsey H., Paper Sky, Hannah Cook, Nikki Larkin, Campus R, Britt Clark, Paris Longer, Andrea Shameless Agitator, Ruby Salazar, Cassandra Smiles, and please welcome our two newest patrons, Liam and Daniel Soar. I don't know if it's Daniel Soar or Soray. So, Daniel, if you would just send us a DM somewhere or comment, let us know.
I'm literally thinking like Saur as in dinosaur, like Camposaur, and we also have
Daniel Soar. Oh, I need to mention Carl Ziegler Jr. He has been, at some points, he has been for months on end doing $20 a month for our Patreon.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I mean,
like from the jump. And I think at some point, 10 a month or something like that. But like, he has by far made the mistake of giving us his money at the highest rate.
Well, he's been there from the beginning.
He really has.
He's been great.
I just want to mention you, Carl, from the jump.
Yeah.
And many of you, I see we
appreciate you.
Yes, we appreciate you. And many of you, we get notifications that you are upgrading your membership from the $1 to the $3 a month. We really appreciate that. So
yeah, love your support. And also when you guys DM us too, I like to write back, and I really appreciate suggestions and stuff.
Yes.
He actually suggested when we did the fluoride episode. So yeah.
Brilliant.
I remember these things.
Brilliant idea. Yeah. Fluoride is poison in the news as well. All right. What are we getting into today, my dear?
Well, I have promised some spookier content as we go into spooky season.
Witchcraft.
Which I love spooky season. Which is so funny because like I'm a super skeptic usually, like when it comes to things, but like I still love hearing the stories and I still love the I don't know, spooky fun, right? And yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I think about all that that kind of stuff when it comes to like ghosts and aliens and stuff like that. I'm the kind of person, if I see it, I'm like, well, there you go. Anyway, moving on. Like, it's just not something that would surprise me, but at the same time, I'm kind of one of those people that needs the evidence. I need logic. I need reason and that kind of thing.
Yes.
But since we are entering into spooky season.
Your favorite season.
Is my favorite season. I love Halloween so much.
Yes.
It's just kind of funny, though, because I am so reasoning based, but the inner child in me is like, spooky, right?
What's this?
So, yeah. And while we hope for cool weather, and here that's wishful thinking to consider before November. And I'm also looking forward to the sun setting sooner because I love it when it's dark. I like it when it's dark. I know. I have like the opposite of what most people have when they have
another glorious morning.
Makes me sick. But I have the opposite of what people usually have when they have, what is it, seasonal depression?
Yeah.
I'm like, I like the other season. I don't know. Well, it's like seasonal depression, but it's not the same season as most people, I guess. But yeah.
The depressing season makes you happy.
I don't know. I just love it. I love it when it's a little bit cooler, when it's darker, because the sun hurts my eyes. I have a hard time with that.
Pumpkin spice lattes.
I like the frappuccinos.
You do.
I like them cold.
You love a caramel ribbon crunch.
I like my
wrap.
I like my coffee like I like the Calvinists out there, dark and cold. You'd get that because
I do. They all are.
So kind of dark, yeah. Anyway, also the rapture didn't happen.
Shucks.
Wasn't that supposed to happen?
I'm so surprised.
We do this every year.
We do.
Every year, someone says the rapture's coming. And it doesn't.
No man can know the day or the hour. Actually, I do. That's basically what they're doing.
Anyway, so
if we really get short on money, I'm just going to start a cult.
You could probably.
I could. Are you joking?
I would be against it because I'm like, that's not cool. But here we are. Now, I thought we could start small with some curses, right? And I know like people are like curses are small, but I mean, in relation to like axe murderers, vampires, cryptids, noble women bathing in the blood of virgins, I mean, it's pretty chill compared to all that, right?
The bone quarter.
That's fictional, but good.
How dare you?
Yeah, but don't fear for future episodes. However, I will be including trigger warnings as needed for any of that other stuff. But if you have anything spooky you'd like to hear about specifically in these episodes or regular episodes, just bonus episodes even too, just comment and let me know.
Oh, man.
But I will also be mentioning any poisons I come across along the way because that's me. So let's go through some history because I love history. So what is a curse and where did this idea come from? Because curses have been around since people lived among one another.
A plague of both your houses.
They were basically seen as a supernatural way to explain misfortune or to even apply justice against one another. You can find curses in a lot of religious texts, not all of them, but a lot of them, as well as artifacts, documents relating to ancient societies and traditions. The first documented example of a curse was created by a king of Assyria, King Ashburnapal.
Bless you.
I might have said that correctly. I might not have. I hope I did. But he was around between 668 and 627 BCE, and this was a curse to protect his books, which would have been more like clay tablets, I guess, at that time. But, and I get that. Protect the books.
I miss my books.
And my armchair. So he basically created this first structured library in Nineveh with numerous tablets. And Nineveh, yeah.
That's a biblical city.
There's a lot of biblical cities that are real. It's actually in one of my favorite biblical story. What is it? Jonah?
Yes.
I like Jonah because he's so like, fine. I don't know. He's one of my favorite characters in the Old Testament because he's just like, I don't wanna. But then he gets swallowed by a giant fish and fine, I'll do it. And even after the fact, he's like, this is just so much.
Taylor Swift wrote the song.
He's such a mood.
Taylor Swift wrote the song Antihero about Jonah.
He's just a mood. It's fun. I know he's not the mood you're supposed to be in, but he's a mood. Anyway.
He's always so fussy.
He is. He's giving David Rose, to be honest.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like he preaches and nobody repents and he's like, I have told you thrice.
He's talking to God. This is your recipe.
Can you tell me one thing?
God.
What does that mean?
So Nineveh.
It's to fold in the cheese.
You fold in the cheese.
Oh, David, I can't be any clearer. Oh, that's fun.
Okay. Anyway, Nineveh. So, yeah, he created this structured library there, numerous tablets, and he wrote a curse on them to keep people from stealing or damaging them, which, hey, book finds weren't a thing yet, I guess, so curse it was. It's not like they had printing presses back then either. These clay tablets and later handwritten pages, if you will, took a lot of time and effort. There wasn't whiteout or backspacing, and you've seen some of these intricately made, like books, pages, documents, clay tablets. If they messed up, they started over a lot of the time. So took a lot of effort. In some places, stealing or damaging books or the like was akin to murder and blasphemy. So this particular curse read, had some stuff in front of it, but the curse itself basically said, "Whosoever shall carry off this tablet or shall inscribe his name on it side by side with mine own, may Asher and Belit overthrow him in wrath and anger, and may they destroy his name and posterity in the land."
All right.
There you go.
Let him cook.
Such curses were actually pretty popular throughout the medieval period as well, and included such penalties as drowning, fatal illness, being torn apart by pigs, which they would do the job, roasting in a frying pan. It's a big frying pan. And death and or damnation. So a bit harsh, but yeah, don't steal books.
Flu-like symptoms.
Maybe don't ban books either. But don't steal books. There's also the evil eye. I don't know if you've heard of
Sauron?
The evil eye. No. I feel like my mom actually gave Camilla one of these necklaces that has to do with the evil eye. It's the blue, white, blue. You may have seen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll go into it.
Okay.
But it has some reference here. Now, belief in the evil eye likely originated within Indo-European, Mediterranean, and Middle Eastern cultures. It's a really old sort of thing, but it probably started in Sumeria, spread throughout the Greco-Roman world, India, Portugal, Spain, Northern Europe, and North Africa. It has, however, not been found in the original folklore traditions of Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Native America. It did spread to these areas with colonization.
Of course.
Just mentioning the kind of history there.
Oh, they don't want to convert? We'll just kill them.
And burn their books. Those books are probably cursed. And so that's what happened.
God told us to. Don't worry.
Oh, man. It can even be found in Islamic and Jewish religious texts. In Jewish religious law, trying to say Jewish religious law is hard, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
It is forbidden for a person to stand and gaze at another's field of ripening grain for fear that his stares will do harm to that field and its produce. Likewise, the rabbis caution a person not to buy a field that borders a city unless he were to first build a fence around the field in order to prevent the bad effects of the evil eye of passersby. It kind of rhymes, which is great. Now, the idea of the evil eye appears in the poetry of Virgil in a conversation between the shepherds Menalcas and Demotus. I am sorry if I'm butchering these names. Demotus. In the passage, Menalcas is lamenting the poor health of his stock. And he says, "What eye is it that has fascinated my tender lambs?" So the Christian Gospels even record the fact that Jesus warned against the evil eye in a list of evils. This is in Mark 7:22. Ancient Greeks and Romans believed that the evil eye could affect both humans and animals, for example, cattle. And one explanation of the past, it has been stated that the eyes were the chief, if not sole, source of the deadly rays that were supposed to spring up like poisoned darts from the inner recesses of a person possessing the evil eye.
Got it.
So this was more of a philosophical take back then. Plutarch treated this phenomenon of the evil eye as a source of wonder and cause of incredulity, which is a fun word. Pliny the Elder described the ability of certain African enchanters to have the power of fascination with the eyes and even kill those on whom they fix their gaze. Bold take for the guy who was like, curses and magic are dumb, bro. But here we are. Now, this is still a popular one, even though it originated some 5,000 plus years ago. It is essentially a curse bestowed by someone envious of another through a glare, which kind of makes sense when you think about the religious texts. And they're like, don't let somebody.
Yeah, we use that colloquially.
If somebody stares at it, your crops are going to die because of their envy. It's a curse. I say this is still popular. A 2015 Pew Research study in Central and Eastern Europe found a median of 48% of adults reported believing in the evil eye. Majorities in Greece, about 66% of the population, Latvia, 66%, Ukraine, 60%, Armenia, 59%, Moldova, 57%, Russia, 56%, Bulgaria, 55%, Georgia, the country, not the state, 52%, and Lithuania, 51%. So it's still kind of this, it's still a part of superstition in many places. Now, there are amulets against the evil eye that originated in Greece and Turkey that take the form of like these eyes looking back at someone. These amulets are known as Greek eyes or Turkish eyes, depending on the region. Greeks also placed talismans of various images in their houses. They wore such amulets to protect them from the evil eye. In addition, they attached like charms on their animals. Another thing was spitting into the folds of their clothes as being a common way to brush this off. So it's kind of gross, but here we are. Ancient Greeks often dressed up boys as girls to avert the evil eye towards children. Boys apparently were more of a target. Now, different cultures in different places had different names for this same concept. Outside of wearing amulets and talismans, different cultures had rituals to prevent the evil eye, such as simply saying "no evil eye" when discussing something that they would say something, and then like after the fact, there's like "no evil eye," kind of like how people knock on wood or throw salt, or you know what I mean? Like it's one of those sort of things. And it's usually when discussing something they own because it has to do with envy, the stare of envy coming to destroy that thing. Mm-hmm. Also, spitting 3 times is another sort of thing. Some cultures have had prayers, jewelry, hand signs, salt, etc., to prevent these evils of the evil eyes. And I mentioned that thing with like it's got like the blue and the white, and it's like, that's supposed to be something that wards off the evil eye or whatever. It's like it's called something. I know somebody will have an answer to this.
Yeah, it's a certain
kind. It's a certain kind of amulet or jewelry, piece of jewelry. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know we've associated ancient Egypt with curses in some way, like the curse of the pharaohs, mummies rising up and all. That's a big thing around Halloween. Also, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy was the best. It's good. It's really good. But a lot of the ones we actually know of were made up by the media during excavations, though, like that of King Tutankhamun's tomb. The idea of some ancient curse out to get those who opened the tomb was just fascinating. It promoted fear, but it also promoted attention. Sold papers, It was great news to write. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Writing for the National Museums of Scotland, Dr. Daniel Potter has explained actual written examples of tomb curses from ancient Egypt are quite rare. Those that survive generally follow an almost legal structure that if you do something negative, you will be punished. Kind of like maybe karmic in some way.
Wow.
I would be more inclined to call them warnings. You wouldn't call a modern no trespassing sign a curse, basically is what he's trying to say. One particularly fun example of a warning from the tomb of Pinit at Aniba warns that any negative behavior will result in the individuals simply being miserable. Others suggest that the transgressor will not achieve their desired afterlife, or simply warn that one bad turn results in another. And now with the Egyptians, they had some complex views of the afterlife. Like it was like you had to take all this stuff with you. You had to be able to it was complex, basically. You had to find your way there. Right. Yeah. The National Museum of Scotland actually has a piece of limestone from an Egyptian tomb entrance that dates back to 1295 to 1069 BCE, and it's inscribed in part with the warning, "As for he who will be sound, beware of forcefully removing this stone from its place." Somebody removed it, but here we are. "As for he who covers it in its place, great lords of the West will reproach him very, 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 very much." That's what it's translated to.
Listen, 5 varies is usually my threshold, so this is serious.
But this is honestly quite polite for a curse. I mean, similar is true among ancient indigenous groups throughout Africa. Among the Shona people of Zimbabwe, Chituko or Ngozi is a spiritual entity or consequence that could be brought upon individuals for offenses such as murder, stealing livestock, or disrespecting elders. Okay, disrespect your elders, I guess. Okay. So the Greeks and Romans had their own curses, of course. Most of us know about their mythology, and I know we've got some listeners who are big on Greek and Roman mythology. I know Dalek Party loves some Greek Roman mythology, and there's some others as well. So I am going to be mentioning some Greek and Roman names. Feel free to correct me if I say them wrong, because some of these are ones some I've heard of, and some of these I haven't actually heard much of. Yeah, they would have known about the Magi priests from Persia. These would have been believers of Zoroastrianism, in which practices of astrology, astronomy, various rituals were involved. They were really good with calendars and looking to the heavens to see events unfolding and those kinds of things. So when I say astrology and astronomy, they kind of mixed the two. Excuse me.
I'm always fascinated that that's really what they were into as far as like reading the Christmas story.
I mean, that's not it, but like there are other things too.
Yeah, but I find it funny. It's like they knew where the Messiah was supposed to be born because of their star charts or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just an interesting twist, because nobody that I grew up in church with would be like, oh, also Zoroastrianism. they would never acknowledge that.
One of the older religions. I mean, it was a ancient monotheistic religion founded by the prophet Zarathustra, or Zoroaster. Zoroaster. There you go. Ancient Iran, around 3,500 years ago, centered on the worship of Ahura Mazda, who they believed was the supreme wise god. So tenets involve cosmic struggle between good and evil, emphasizing human free will, truth, charity, and responsibility to fight against the darkness. So, I mean, pretty similar to a lot of your older religions. It is an older religion. They did different kind of rituals too, so they had other things going on, but they were very much into wisdom. And like I said, sort of looking to the stars, the heavens for signs and things like that. So that's not like a complete analysis of the entire religion, but you get me. But anyway, yeah, so Persia was a place known for their great knowledge and achievement in math, astronomy, chemistry at this time as well. As I mentioned, Zoroastrianism is an old religion, and honestly, when faced with completely different set of beliefs, rituals, and ideals, some of the Greeks and Romans would have seen it as magic or heresy or witchcraft, much like you would see even between religions today. I mean, you grew up in church. There's the burning of Harry Potter books, for goodness sake.
Oh, yes.
My goodness. And that's just like a silly example, but, I'm just sort of like, people haven't changed all that much, to be honest. And so, like, if there was something even scientific that they were studying, over there, but then the Greeks or Romans didn't understand how it worked or what it was, they would have been like, magic. Cool.
Right.
Now many, including Pliny the Elder, began to associate these magi with magic, and see these priests as magicians, because you see what I'm doing with my claw hand, because the words just kind of go that direction. Mm-hmm. Now, this is actually a misunderstanding involving differences in language and culture. Zoroastrians living in Persia were sharing knowledge with others that would have been seen as magic or supernatural simply because others didn't understand it in logical terms. For instance, Persians were great at understanding natural science and celestial phenomena. So, of course, the Greeks were like, yep, witchcraft. If you could have told them the sun will go dark tomorrow and you just happen to know that there's an eclipse, but people are like, don't know how you could know that. And the sun goes dark the next day. They're like, oh, right. It's happened.
Oh, I just read about Nat Turner's rebellion.
Mm.
The thing that pushed him over the edge was a full eclipse was it the moon eclipsing the sun? One of those. This was like 18.
Is it a solar eclipse?
I can't remember which one it was, but it was February of I think it was the 1830s maybe. And that's what, he took it as a spiritual sign that he was supposed to do what he did.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
That's been a thing throughout history, different cultures and religions. The Mayans were excellent astronomers, makers of calendars and things like that. So, and of course you got those giant things around the world, those monuments like Stonehenge. I think most believe that is kind of a sort of a calendar, has to do with the equinoxes and the solstices, things like that. Some Greeks and later Romans were happy to be influenced by such an idea as controlling everything around us, part of the misunderstanding with how they viewed Zoroastrianism. And archaeologists have found numerous artifacts showing they believed in and practiced evil prayers, curses, cursed tablets, which they would have called keradesmoi. It's a Greek word. So, yeah.
Okay.
Love potions, amulets for protection or luck, prosperity, potions, and of course, poisons. So now the use of magic and as such curses can be seen in Greek and Roman mythology and in poetry as well. Writing around 375 BCE, Plato would describe the traffic in magical goods and services in classical Athens, including the use of incantations and binding spells and the unease felt by passersby on seeing molded wax images. These kinds of magical curse effigies that you could place in doorways, at crossroads, and ancestral tombs. Now, Pliny the Elder, in speaking about Roman Emperor Nero, claims he had studied magic with the best teachers and had access to the best books, but was unable to do anything extraordinary. So, there's that. As seen later in the writings of many Roman philosophers, to some there is good and bad magic. Others believed that magic and superstition was led by daemons, which was like Daemons.
Yes.
I think Socrates is actually mentioned like his own daemon that speaks to him, and it's in there somewhere. Yeah.
What's that movie? The something compass.
The Golden Compass.
The Golden Compass. Yes, yeah. There were daemons in that.
But they were like the animal critters, like
yes,
yeah, kind of like their Patronus, but they were there full time.
Yes,
kind of. Anyway, yeah, but these could be good or bad. Pliny the Elder would come to see it as this deceptive mixing of elements from medicine, astronomy, and religion, and often associated it with fraud and low social standing. So you had differing views on the matter over the course of even the Greeks and Romans' years and things like that. So yeah, by the end of the 3rd century CE, the practice of magic was forbidden by Roman law, with even the possession of books on magic potentially a capital offense, as it became seen as perverting and polluting legitimate religious rites. They killed Socrates for polluting the minds of youths. Youths. So, according to a 2023 article in Anthropology News, cursed tablets have been found ranging from Roman Britain to Egypt to the shores of the Black Sea. They contain spells, prayers, and curses aimed against lovers, politicians, charioteers, tavern keepers, craftsmen, enslaved persons, sex laborers, and just about everyone in between. Again, the Greeks called these katadesmoi. Going to stick with that pronunciation, which kind of mean bindings down. So, while the Latin term for them, deficciones.
We don't talk about Bruno.
No. Good movie. Deficciones. I'm trying to think, okay, Latin. What does Latin sound like for this term? Because there's so many cultures I mentioned in here. I'm like, okay, Latin. That sounds sort of this way. Now, this translates into English as curses that fix or fasten someone. Binding curses were often utilized in moments of great anxiety, high-stakes situations, as ways of managing competition and vulnerability. So a business rival, a legal trial, athletic contest. So they obviously felt out of control in that moment. Thus, they have the anxiety, and they're looking at a curse or magic of some sort, if you will, to sort of fix it in their favor because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Curse tablets and other ritual objects were created by both amateur curse writers and ritual professionals, basically persons with expertise in the sale of spells, charms, curses, and purifications. Which, I mean, you can go on Goop and find this too now. So, yeah.
We have an episode about that.
Honestly, it's kind of similar to the whole wellness industry, making money off of telling people that if you drink this and don't eat for a week, you'll cure yourself of whatever is going on with you. Now, there were some examples of curses in this article as well, and the author explained that sometimes the process of casting a curse or binding spell in antiquity would include collecting little bits of the target's person, such as strands of hair, fingernail clippings, and then manipulating these bits to focus the curse against that particular victim. And this probably sounds familiar because down the road you see people in different cultures. I mean, you see voodoo dolls later on sometimes include bits of a person, or, I mean, come on, Harry Potter.
Exactly. I was about to say polyjuice potion.
Polyjuice potion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and trick Crab and Goyle. Is it, how thick can you get?
Didn't know you could read.
And he's about to do it with his wand, but it's broken, and Harry's like, maybe I should do it. So you don't kill him. I need to watch Harry Potter again.
Same.
Good times. A 3rd century CE lead curse tablet from a well in the Athenian Agora, for example, contained several strands of waterlogged long brown hair. That just sounds so gross to me because wet hair is one of those things that just gives me the biggest ick. I can handle blood. I can handle
confirm.
All the nursing bodily fluids, but wet hair, I can't. Anyway, but this was likely used in directing the spell at the woman Tyche, who is named as the intended target. We know of other lead curse tablets that were interred with wax, wood, and clay effigies, for example. Clearly, the act of incising the curse onto lead was just one part of a much larger ritual process, which I think lead is also toxic. So kind of cursing yourself by messing with it, I guess, as well. And these curses or spells were not just written. Some were symbolic statues or effigies with names of the accursed written on them. A lot of these curses were found in graves or wells, any way to kind of get it closer to the dead, who they believed had more power to reach their enemies with supernatural force because they're in the afterlife. They're in this spiritual sort of realm, I suppose.
The bone quarter. It's okay. You don't have to say it.
Sometimes deities associated with the underworld were mentioned as well. They don't have to live down there to be associated with it, but so it's not just Hades or whatever. One such curse was found at a grave addressed to Hecate. I've also heard Hecate. I've heard both ways on pronouncing her name. I think she's the goddess of witchcraft, honestly, just to be sure. So people aren't like, how dare you get that wrong? Goddess of magic, witchcraft, the night, moonlight, crossroads. Yeah. So also Artemis and Hermes. This was like one curse addressed to all three of these. There was a lot of evidence found at sites like these showing that ancient Greeks and later Romans practiced such rituals. And I mentioned that some curses were effigies with the names on them. And these were called puppets. And they were they looked and acted a lot like voodoo dolls. But you see these pop up like later on in history too throughout Europe. So now the rise in Christianity changed a lot concerning supernatural beliefs in magic and curses and spells and all. In 33 BCE, astrologers and magicians were driven from Rome. 20 years later, Augustus ordered all books on the magical arts to be burned. In 16 CE, magicians and astrologers were expelled from Italy, and this was reinstated by edicts of Vespasian in 69 CE, and then Domitian in 89 CE. You've got the rise of Christianity coming through.
Oh, is that what it was? What about that? And
I'm sure other stuff. I mean, fear of witchcraft, especially if you're a leader who has may have a lot of enemies. I mean, I'm sure that might be part of it. Now, the Emperor Constantine I in the 4th century CE issued a ruling concerning magic, distinguishing between helpful charms that you would not be punished for, and antagonistic spells. So basically at this point, Roman authorities were deciding what forms of magic were acceptable and which were not. So acceptable forms basically just became traditions, while those things that were not acceptable were rejected and termed magic and then therefore forbidden. So some of the things that they liked, they were just like, well, we're just going to include that in our traditions. So they're just like picking and choosing at this point.
Sure.
Right. Going back a ways, because I did mention the rise of Christianity, Jewish religious texts such as the Talmud and the Pentateuch, which would later become part of the Bible as the Old Testament. It's like the first 5 books, right? The Pentateuch, it's first 5 books. And then you, of course, with the Old Testament, along with the prophetic writings and all that. All of these also mention curses. So I know there are definitely curses mentioned in the Bible. God cursed Adam and Eve for eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The serpent as well was cursed to, move along his belly and yeah, it does that a lot. Of course, now people are like, oh, so it's the snake and the snake was the devil. And it's like, it didn't say that. It didn't say anywhere in there.
That's technically true.
It doesn't say anywhere in there the serpent was the devil.
If you ever listen to what's really interesting, it's really interesting for me to listen to critical Bible scholars like unpack who was who and what was going on, and is it polytheistic, is it monotheistic? It's very surprising what you find from critical scholarship on all that.
It's Satan, actually. Anyway, which Satan is actually a title, not a name.
Right.
Like Satan is not the name of a being. Satan just means adversary, is a title. Anyway, moving on. But there are lots of curses in there. I mean, Cain for killing Abel. There are various curses for breaking the laws mentioned in Leviticus and Deuteronomy. There are a few mentioned in the New Testament as well, mainly by the Apostle Paul, or someone pretending to be the Apostle Paul, as in the Timothys, because that's what they have come to discover now. And then, of course, you have the what are those texts that are not part of the Bible, but like the Book of Enoch,
Apocrypha.
Like there's different. I mean, there's different religious texts that aren't included in some other texts that also do have things like this in it. So,
and they're fun.
That's
they got fun stuff in them.
It's an interesting book for sure. I know the Book of Enoch talks about magic and like angels coming down to teach magical arts.
The Book of Enoch should be a Netflix series.
I think from what I understand, I was told that the Book of Enoch was not considered for entry into the Bible however many years ago that was when the people put it together. In my opinion, they really went out of order because isn't Job supposed to be the oldest book?
Yeah, Job predates Genesis.
Yeah, which I know, like, Genesis has, like, the creation stories and stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's my preference, I guess. But yeah, the Book of Enoch, apparently there are some conflicts, historically speaking, is what I've heard. But there are historical conflicts within other parts of the Bible, too.
There are.
Not going to get into it, but
yeah,
there just are. Anyway. Islamic.
You're not going to offend me. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I just, if I get if I start talking about it, like,
yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
There's so many different, yeah, there's so many different things you could talk about when it comes to, especially the Old Testament, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Now, Islamic texts like the Quran have similar consequences involved with, breaking rules and stuff like that. There are multiple curses mentioned in Hindu mythology as well as in Asian cultures and mythologies across the continent. Japan, China, Korea, they all have their own folklore involving curses. There were also beliefs in curses among the Celts, which the Romans had dealings with, as well as in Irish mythology and as well as Scottish and Norse mythology. There's a lot of mythologies out there. Norse mythology is kind of crazy. You'd be reading that and you're like, what do you mean he gave birth to a 6-legged donkey? What the heck?
I'll never forget Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which if you haven't seen that movie, you must. Alan Rickman. It suggested to him that they hire the Celts to assist them in taking down Robin Hood and his band of merry men. And Alan Rickman, he says, the Celts, they drink the blood of the dead.
Yeah, they were known for doing magic, and some of it was exaggerated and some of it not so much. Yeah. But sorry, it was an 8-legged horse. Loki gave birth to an 8-legged horse.
Well,
after shapeshifting into a mare.
Sorry.
I just wanted to get my story straight. But still, it's like, what? I mean, Zeus turned into a swan and sexually assaulted a woman, so.
All right, you're getting off topic.
I am. Moving on, we've mentioned some folklore from Southeast Asia. We've also mentioned some from Central and South America, as well as Caribbean folklore when discussing certain poisonous plants, such as with like symbolic traits, like the banyan trees and India and Southeast Asia, or the silk cotton tree found in Central America. So we've done some different stuff on that. Around this time last year, we spoke of root doctors and goofer dust and Haitian hoodoo versus voodoo. Voodoo originated from the traditional African religions of the Fan and Yu people, in what is now Benin and Ghana. Enslaved Africans brought voodoo to the Americas, especially to Haiti, where it evolved and mixed with other religious traditions like Catholicism into what is now known as Haitian voodoo. Hoodoo, on the other hand, has its origins in the U.S., primarily among African American communities in the southern U.S. Its roots stem from a combination of West African folk traditions, Native American practices, and European folklore and magic practices. So it's kind of a combo of a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. It's not a religion, hoodoo's not, but rather a set of magical practices. Now, most of us have heard of voodoo dolls. There's also hexes and such involved in some hoodoo practices as well. Some to simply prevent harm, contact, or to win court cases over another. Others to inflict bad luck, misery, or misfortune on an enemy. So yeah, I think that's, a good bit of history of curses. So I want to jump into just some well-known curses about some well-known places. There's cursed artifacts, books, places, gravestones, artwork, gemstones, ships. If you name an object, there's probably a cursed version of it somewhere. And we talked a little bit about that in our last bonus episode too. We talked about a few of these objects. But I'm specifically going to talk about some places involving nature, especially since we talk a lot about poisonous plants and mineral toxins and such. So first, let's talk about Pele's curse. I think it's Pele. It's Hawaiian. This one concerns Hawaii's natural resources. Pele, which is the native goddess who was said to have created the Hawaiian Islands and has dominion over fire, lightning, wind, and lava/volcanoes. And she apparently operates in the in the destruction of old land and life and creation of new, which makes sense with volcanoes. It's like destruction and then new life comes up. And yeah. Now, respecting this deity means having respect for nature and the land. And the curse goes after those bold enough to visit and take natural elements like rocks and sand, and, these like lava rocks away with them. This is said to result in misfortunes as simple but annoying as losing your luggage or missed flights, all the way up to tragedies. So, according to some tour guides, Pele, which is actually Hawaiian for lava, which makes sense if she's the goddess over such, lived in the crater of Kilauea, became enraged by a visitor taking one of her lava rocks as a souvenir. To her, the rocks and sand were her children, and taking one was like taking her family from its home. Now, to this day, in retribution, she will place a curse on any rock stolen from her and ensure misfortune finds its thief. However, the curse is actually a more recent creation, beginning not with a volcanic goddess, but kind of as a hoax, actually, by a disgruntled 1946 park ranger tired of visitors taking rocks as souvenirs. It should be noted, too, that taking rocks and other artifacts from national parks is illegal and considered environmental desecration. So now the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, or the Hilo Post Office, are both apparently used to receiving thousands of apologetic packages each year from tourists who regret taking lava rocks from the Hawaiian Islands. So even though this was kind of more of a recent creation, a recent myth, plenty of people have found that taking these rocks has resulted in some misery. In most cases, their apologies include the rocks they want to return and end their bad luck. Now, the United States Postal Service permits customers to mail rocks, providing they are properly packaged and the postage paid. In 2020, regretful returns of lava rocks by tourists to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park weighed in at more than 2,000 pounds. So that's how many were sent back.
All right.
Even the Postal Service news, the news site carries stories of tourists whose lives went on the rocks.
Get it?
Because of this. After leaving with a bottle of sand and a piece of coral in 2007, tourist Karen Wade lost her 2 dogs, her home, and her marriage, apparently.
All right.
She returned to Hawaii with a new partner in 2016. She left the rocks alone this time.
Yeah.
In a book by Serge King, written on this very subject, he says, there is absolutely no Hawaiian tradition relating to Pele's concern about rocks. There is one legend from the black sand beach of Punaluu, west of Kilauea, that says there are male and female rocks there that give birth to baby pebbles. Most cute. Pebbles. And if you take a rock from there, another rock will not be able to make babies, and the beach will eventually disappear. So, that's like a little story, there. Okay. Now, the Rangers' version of this curse might have been based on this story, curse anybody else that takes one of the rocks from, which, this is, people's land and heritage, and it's kind of rude just to take pieces of this land with them as they go. You know what I mean? Leave it.
Are you familiar with, the brand or the clothing company, Anthropology?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen their rocks?
No. I know they're a super expensive, kind of boho sort of thing.
They're selling $250 rocks that are supposed to be centerpieces for a coffee table.
It's a rock.
But it's a rock. How, Zoe? How?
Rocco!
But just look at, I literally sent you a TikTok of this woman who wanted one really bad, and her husband and son are baffled. They were like, what do you mean? In the video, the husband literally walks off and goes behind the fence of their yard and finds an identical rock.
Okay, let me see. There's $1,000 rock. The Anthropology rock. Okay, Let's see. Is there a picture? Oh, hang on. Okay. Is this real?
It is real.
Okay. That's crazy. Maybe they're cursed too. Anyway, let's see where I was. Now, there are other places with similar curses attached to the act of taking home a souvenir. One such place is actually in Arizona, here on the mainland in the States, specifically at Petrified Forest National Park. Again, it's illegal to take from a national forest or national park anyway. But apparently there is more regret from these effects of the curse than there is from guilt. The Petrified Forest area was designated a national monument on December 8th, 1906. The Painted Desert was added later, and on December 9th, 1962, the whole monument received national park status. So, yeah. Now, today, the park actually covers 93,533 acres, but over 200 million years ago, this area was covered in large trees and plants, rivers and streams, so it looked completely different. And they would flood a lot because of the heavy rains in the area. And some of these trees would come down and wash into the plains. Volcanic activity destroyed the forested areas since then and buried it in some ash and some mud. The organic material of the trees fossilized and mineralized, and the petrified trees were discovered via erosion millions of years later. So this is kind of the natural, landscape history, I guess. Legends of this curse began to emerge in the 1930s when people began to report experiencing some serious bad luck after taking pieces of the forest home with them. So if you visit the Rainbow Forest Museum at Petrified Forest National Park there, you'll see a whole exhibit of hundreds of pieces and letters and examples of these cursed individuals. They have a whole exhibit on it. These letters come in with the pieces stolen. I think there's a book too, based on either this one or the Hawaiian one. I think it's the Hawaiian one. Like there's a whole book listing the people like who have been cursed or regretted or who sent back these things, right? So, I mean, I ain't gonna try it. It's illegal anyway. You're not supposed to do that. But yeah, these letters come in with the pieces stolen a lot of the time, apologizing and explaining how their lives have gone from just fine to absolutely miserable. And some of them are like, okay, yeah, that sucks. I could see why you would be like, what is happening in my life? And then some of them are like, my girlfriend broke up with me on the way home. I'm like, I mean, okay, dude.
All right.
It was probably coming. But there is a 3-ring binder that sits beneath a display that contains letters from all over the world, not just America, but all over. It's comprised of a good 1,200 pages of guilt-ridden letters. The oldest conscience letter, as they call them, dates back to 1935. Now, some examples of these include, "It was a great challenge sneaking it out of the park. Since that time, though, nothing in my life has gone right." Someone else sent one saying, "Take these miserable rocks and put them back. They have caused pure havoc in my love life. Believe me, if I would have known the curse went with any of the rocks, I never would have taken these. My life has been totally destroyed since we've been back from vacation. Please take these so my life will get back to normal. Let me start over again. Forgive me for ever taking these."
Okay. That's a little bit.
"When we were there, we read the letters of the many people who had returned wood to you with tales of bad luck, ruined marriages, and other stories of misfortune. At first, we did not believe the ramblings of such obviously superstitious persons, but upon a review of the life and lack of luck that our family members have had these past 30 years, we've begun to wonder if possibly the legend could have some truth to it. So don't take rocks or petrified wood or anything from these places. Enjoy the nature around you. Maybe take some pictures instead." Now, I am going to mention just some different plants that are associated with curses as well and see if anyone may recognize some of these. There's a lot of plants with history and mythology, legends in various cultures. Again, think of like Greeks and Romans with their mythology. We've talked about the daffodil, the narcissus, the association between aconite and Cerberus.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Cerberus.
So adorable.
From who it came, like apparently, I think it's like the drool or something dripped and aconite grew.
This is my favorite rendition of Cerberus that
He's
you're
so
holding
cute.
right there.
He's so cute. There's also association with it in Hecate. I've heard it, like I said, heard it said both ways, who was said to have created its poison. Later, aconite or wolfsbane would also be associated with werewolves and witchcraft. Also in Greek and Roman mythology, the lotus flower represented temptation, indulgence, and complacency. In Homer's Odyssey, the lotus eaters are these people who eat the fruit of the lotus plant, which makes them lethargic, forgetful, and pretty much useless. So the curse of the plant is while you may feel blissful, you forget your true purpose, even identity. Those who ate of it lost any ambition or desire to return home to who they were, to their responsibilities, that sort of thing. The bleeding heart is another flower considered cursed in some cultures. It's tied to a very tragic tale, actually, like so many other cursed plants. There's a few tales, but I believe the one that's the original one is a Japanese story about a young prince who failed to win the heart of a princess that he loved with gifts that he had brought back for her. He ended up killing himself as a result, stabbed himself in the heart. Ouch. The princess was overcome by the dedication of the dying prince and his unending love for her. She realized too late that she loved him also. Really? Really, girl? Alas, she cried out, I have done wrong. My own heart is broken also. I shall bleed for my prince forevermore. And her heart bleeds to this very day. So there's apparently a way to use the petals of the actual flower to reenact this tale too. Like they're shaped in cool ways. You can make it look like a dude or a woman with a dress. You can make it look like it's kind of crazy, but cool. Legend has it that its appearance in a garden, these bleeding heart flowers, could spell doom for a love affair, ensuring that the lovers would never be united. The flower's presence serves as a reminder of the inevitability of heartache and loss. However, in other, usually Western cultures, it's a symbol of compassion, renewal, and beauty. So, context. We've talked about strangler figs and their association in some cultures, as with the Philippines, myths with demons and monsters. There's also tamarind trees in India, which are considered to be bad luck when too close to a home. Now, this is according to the ancient system of architecture there known as Vastu Shastra, which is this design guide. It's giving like Magnolia Cursed Edition, right? That's what that magazine's called, right? With the Chip and Joanna Gaines peoples. Anyway, but basically this is a guide promoting harmony with nature by balancing the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air. I wanted to say heart because of Captain Planet, but it's space. Space, okay? According to the guide, tamarind trees attract negative energy, malevolent spirits, and an atmosphere of depression. The book also warns against babool trees, rubber plants, and dead or dying plants for similar reasons. I have a rubber plant downstairs, and I am doing okay. Just saying, I like my rubber plant. It also recommends against keeping a cactus in the house or any thorny plants, as these invite a prickly atmosphere. It's kind of funny. Can cause tension in relationships and draw bad influences to you. So now one more plant. This one's from Ireland. I couldn't go without having a nice Irish myth here. Hungry grass, or fear gortach. I can't do the
Gordach.
Fair gortach. Fair gorta. There we go. I'm sure one of those was close. Now, this is also known as fairy grass. It is said that if you step on it or walk on it, you will be cursed with insatiable hunger. It is believed by some that fairies plant this grass to catch wary passersby, while others say it grows where there is a corpse of someone who died without having confessed their sins. There's a lot of like the collision of belief in fairies and that kind of thing, and also Catholicism and things like that. So, those cultures kind of collide and boom. And for those of you who love to read, Akatar, fairies, and the actual myths were not cute and heroic, okay? So now it was a common belief in these parts that when a person died, the body should be watched or simply kept company for a few days to keep the dead from rising out of loneliness. If they were left alone for any reason or even a bit of time, the spirit of the dead person might wander off and become a fergorta, which obviously sounds very similar to the Gaelic for hungry grass. The fergorta was this gaunt corpse figure who would wander and ask people for food and money. Those who gave freely were rewarded with good luck, while those who were stingy and did not were punished with hunger and poverty. So, kind of a curse right there. Now, some believe the grass grows where these beings have walked, and that if you must cross the area, you should do so with food and beer in case you meet him. So now there's other such trees, plants, fungi with dark stories and curses attached, but we've kind of met our time, I'm sure. So if this episode is well received, I can always do another part later on this season with more of those. So, but yeah, those are just some that I found pretty interesting in this case. So there's some history behind curses, and then some that still have lasted, that we see people still, like, obviously writing and returning the stones that they took. Don't take stuff. Just don't. I mean, I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious. Yeah. But, like, just don't do that.
The place where I asked you to marry me is now roped off.
Yeah.
And
people kept taking pieces of it.
People kept defacing and vandalizing the this is a church that's 200 years old, 250 years old.
Ruins, yeah.
The ruins of it. And
it was burned during the Revolutionary War and then looted in the Civil War, I believe.
And it's a gorgeous place to walk around, and surrounded by massive old trees and graves that are 250 years old. And
if any place is cursed, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
So literally the place where I asked you to marry me, you cannot access anymore. So
you can get close to it, but you can't go inside the church.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Anyway, but yeah, stop taking stuff.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of the Poisoner's Almanac. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. We will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.